Hello everyone. Have you ever wondered why some relationships feel easy and secure while others leave us feeling anxious, distant, or even stuck in a cycle of conflict? The answer might lie in something deeply within us, in our attachment style, or the way that we connect with people. I am Carlos, and I struggled finding relationships that were aligned with whom I am, both personally and professionally. I thought there was something wrong with me. So I continued with those relationships and those situations and put me in bad places. When I understood how I was connecting with people, it gave me the key to avoid those situations and establish better relationships. And in this video, I want to share with you this information that can help you as well get to know better about yourself and improve the quality of your relationships. All comes down from the attachment theory. It's a concept from psychology. It's a powerful tool to help us understand why we connect with people the way we do. It reveals how our early experiences shaped our expectations of relationships and how we handle connection, trust, and even conflict. Knowing our attachment style can be a game changer because it helps us to build healthier relationships by understanding our own needs and those of others around us, and at the same time enables us to heal from the past by breaking free from the patterns that no longer serve us because we can identify which are those. And most importantly, it empowers us to create secure, meaningful connections, whether with a partner, a friend, at work, and of course, with ourselves. And in this video, we will see the theory of the attachment theory, what it is, the different attachment styles that we can have, and how we can implement it to understand ourselves and transform our relationships and our lives to enjoy better quality in our relationships. So let's dive right into it. As a little bit of a background about the attachment theory, it was developed in the 1950s by psychologist John Bowlby, and he believed that a child's attachment style forms based on the early experiences with the main caregivers. It could be parents, uncles, or the person that had this role as main caregiver. So specifically, it's all about the responsiveness and sensitivity of those caregivers with the child. And this is the theory that's nowadays currently applied and believed to be the basis for all that's being processed in psychology. Depending on how we connect or attach with other people, there are four main attachment styles: secure, anxious, avoidant, or disorganized. And each reflects a unique way that we connect with others, influenced largely by how our caregivers responded to us when we were young. The first attachment style, secure attachment, when parents respond consistently and sensitively, then a child is likely to develop a secure attachment style. This means that if a child is upset, the caregiver acknowledges their feelings and provides comfort. The parents are there for big and small moments, showing the child that they are reliable and supportive. Then the child feels visible, understood. And if, for example, a child is hurt at school, a securely attached parent listens, reassures, and helps the child feel safe. And this consistency helps children grow up feeling secure in relationships and more confident in seeking support when they need it. And at the same time, because they know that they can count with others as if there was a safety net in relationships, they feel more secure about going out and exploring themselves. They feel more courageous and more independent. A securely attached child learns then to trust and that others will be there for them, which leads to them in having more confidence, more openness in relationship, a more balanced approach to intimacy, and managing their own emotions in a more balanced way. The second attachment style is anxious attachment, and it often develops when caregivers are inconsistent in their responsiveness. For instance, a parent might sometimes be highly attentive, but some other times might be destructive or dismissive, maybe because of stress from work, the personal economy, or other personal issues. The father or the parent is not always there. So imagine a parent who comforts a child one day and then the next day it ignores the child's distress. This inconsistency can lead the children to feel uncertain, confused about what to expect or if they can count or not with their parents or caregivers, causing them to cling to caregivers for reassurance because they feel anxious. They don't know if they are going to receive always the same attention because this behavior is not predictable. And also, when caregivers are overly critical or focus on the mistakes, this can lead to insecurities in the child. And as adults, people with anxious attachment style often tend to need this constant validation on relationships and having a fear of abandonment because they learned that relationships are unstable. The third attachment style, avoidant. That's when caregivers are distant, unresponsive, of even rejecting of the children. Then they can develop an avoidant attachment style. The avoidant attachment style often forms in childhood where caregivers are emotionally distant and unresponsive or dismissive of a child's needs. These caregivers might be emphasizing too much independence over the emotional connection, expecting the child to toughen up or to dismiss their own emotions altogether. So, for example, if a child falls and cries, they might be told to just shake it off instead of receiving comfort. So, over time, the child learns that emotions are not that important and learn to suppress their needs, becoming emotionally self-sufficient and reluctant to rely on others. But this is a toxic way of being self-sufficient because it is hiding or denying the feelings and needs. And as adults, this attachment style can manifest as discomfort with intimacy, a preference for emotional distance, or short-term relationships or shallow ones that focus more on self-reliance and often minimal emotional connection, which is repeating the early encouragement that those child had for independence and a lack of affection and real connection for caregivers. The fourth attachment style, disorganized attachment style, and it often arises in childhood where caregivers are both the source of comfort and fear, creating a confusion of an unpredictable environment. So compared to the other attachment styles that always follow a pattern, this one doesn't. This attachment style is commonly linked to caregivers who are abusive, neglectful, or struggling with their own challenges, such as unresolved trauma, substance abuse, that prevent them from being available for themselves as caregivers and for the child. So, for example, a parent who is loving one moment but angry or violent the next one, it leaves the child feeling unsafe, unsure of how to seek comfort. And these experiences teach the child that relationships are unreliable and potentially harmful, leading to conflicting behaviors in adulthood because they will be desiring closeness and at the same time fearing this intimacy. So factors like exposure to violence, inconsistent caregiving, or extreme shifts between affection and neglection contribute to the development of this type of attachment that often results in a struggle to trust others or feel secure in relationships, while at the same time looking for closeness. This attachment style might struggle severely to self-regulate emotionally and to cope with its own feelings. So people with this attachment style are more likely to turn to extreme activities or substance abuse to cope with their own distress. There's more to what shapes our attachment style. Not only our relationship with our caregivers determine it, there are other factors, such as the influence the style that we develop. Even when our caregivers did everything right, we might, for example, develop a slightly anxious attachment style. As we already mentioned, the parents or caregiver sensitivity and responsiveness is key, meaning, as we just saw, how predictable and reliability is the key for developing our character and that of the caregiver. This is the main factor. But when caregivers are consistently responsive and sensitive, a child is likely to develop a secure attachment style. But if caregiving is inconsistent or neglectful, children often form anxious or avoidant. And if there's violence involved, then it's more likely to develop a disorganized attachment style to cope with unpredictability. Then early life experiences like early trauma, abuse, neglect, frequent changes in caregiving as well can impact the attachment style. So when children experience high levels of stress or unpredictability, they might adopt anxious or avoidant tendencies to cope with these feelings. This might also happen because of accidents and other unpredictable events that leave a strong emotional impact in our lives. Then the other factor that influences that are genetics. Scientific research also points out that genetic influence to our development of the attachment style and a child's natural temperament, whether they're naturally resilient or more sensitive, can shape how they interact with caregivers and influence their attachment style, even independently of the attitudes and attentions of caregivers and the environment. And lastly, there are cultural factors, like in collective cultures such as in Asia and Latin America, where harmony and interdependence are a priority. Then children might develop attachment styles more emphasized on closeness and mutual support. Thought of reliance or approval on others can foster anxiety. In more individualistic cultures, such as in the West, which value independence, children are often encouraged towards autonomy and potentially leading to a secure or avoidant attachment, depending on caregiver responsiveness. Emotional expressing norms also play a role. What is accepted in a culture, as cultures that encourage open emotions might facilitate bonding, while those favoring restraint and being more private might impact emotional closeness. So parenting practices such as co-sleeping or early independence training further reflect cultural values that are going to impact the development of our attachment style later on in life. Everything is linked. And now that we have seen the different attachment styles and the influences to the developing, which one do you identify the most? Which one is the one that resonated with most? Take a moment to reflect about it and comment down below which one do you believe is your attachment style. Mine was a disorganized attachment style. I wanted closeness, but at the same time, I fear it. At the same time, it was very distressful. But not everything is set in stone, like luckily for me. The attachment theory has come a long way since it was first introduced. Early on, researchers believed that our attachment style was mostly set during childhood, shaped by our interactions with caregivers, and that was it for the rest of our lives. But newer research offers scientific proof that attachment style can indeed change over lifetime, especially with intentional steps and significant experience. This is good news for us because this means that we can evolve how we connect with other people and establish better and more enjoyable relationships. I apply these steps that I want to share with you all, and it really helped me to feel more secure and to evolve the quality of my relationships. It was a game changer, really, for me. And this is what we can do to rewire our perception and behaviors about relationships. Number one, to have positive models surrounding ourselves with emotionally stable and supportive people. And then we should nurture as well those relationships. Learning by doing. People that are not going to play any tricks and that are aligned with us and with our values. Positive experiences in relationships, whether romantic, friends, or work, it helps rewire insecure patterns by providing a safe environment and healthy examples of how connecting with people really is. Then it can help to develop what is named as earn a secure attachment style. And with such relationships, we will have proof as well that this is possible because we'll have this reference and visualize it. And keeping this relationship for the long term can help us earn a secure attachment style. Secondly, self-awareness and reflection. regularly reflect on our emotions and how we respond in our interactions. We can do some journaling or mindfully observe ourselves or discuss our experiences in a safe community that helps us identify our own patterns, understand our triggers, recognize our areas for improvement, and how can we relate to others. Third, we can focus on emotional self-regulation, practice managing anxiety and self-regulation techniques like mindfulness or breathing exercises that help us being grounded, and developing healthier ways to cope with stress that builds emotionally resilience and forces a sense of security with ourselves. Then we will feel more confident about ourselves, more balanced, and then will help us take the next steps in our relationships. And fourth, commit to continuous growth, to embrace a growth mindset by constantly challenging ourselves, our old patterns, and working consciously toward positive steps, positive change. That it includes maintaining healthy boundaries, practicing gratitude, and seeking therapeutic support when needed to accelerate the healing process. The attachment styles is a fascinating topic. And after I started working in developing an earned secure attachment style, as it's named, I can see now, looking back in my own story, how the quality of my relationship has drastically improved and over the last years, and how I feel much more confident and I can enjoy myself and be much more present with really inspiring people that I enjoy spending time with. And I want others as well to enjoy a better quality of life. That's why I summarized all these steps, step by step, and the information, all the techniques to evolve our relationship with others and with ourselves. And I summarized that in our online community, and I got through that help us to connect with others in the same growth journey to start developing a more enjoyable and supportive relationships while growing together. You can request more information in the link down below in the description or reach out to me directly for any comments. Super happy to help people with the steps that I also struggle with. And lastly, if you enjoyed this video, click thumbs up to make it easier for other people to find this information, subscribe, and share this video with people that could benefit with some of these tips on how to improve the quality of their relationships. Thanks for joining and see you soon.